Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. This is season 5. We're on episode number 44. Andy, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm recovered from the weekend of baseball.
It was fun. Tonight's the sports edition.
Thursday morning, and oh boy.
Yeah, it was interesting. We got a lot to cover here on the sports edition. Today is September 3rd, 2024. It's our sports edition to put everything in a capsule here for the weekend. And there's a lot of baseball.
Yep.
State amateur baseball, Class B, Class C. You know, they have this 3 weeks long, but the first weeks are just one game each. You play once the weekend and go home. And it's kind of not on the top of people's priority for those weeks 1 and 2. Week 3, Labor Day weekend, is always the fun. The fun begins. It's 3. You got to play 1, 2, 3, 4 games. If you make it to Labor Day, the championship, it gets to be very interesting. Weather is always a concern. It wasn't this year. It was perfect. So we'll be covering a lot of the amateur stuff as well for tonight's episode with the baseball tournament. Very fun stuff. Now, the trivia question, Andy, actually relates to WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx.
They're going strong.
The Minnesota Lynx just clinched this week playoff berth. They will be in the postseason. They've been around for 26 seasons. This is their 26th year. How many times have they played in the postseason?
Ooh.
How many of those 26 years they qualified for the postseason? We'll get to the answer at the end, but once again, they just qualified again. There's, I think, 7 games left. They'll wrap that up and then hit the postseason again.
All right, let's talk about our friends in the Minnesota Baseball Association NBA Finals this weekend. There they are, Class C state champions, the Waconia Lakers.
Well, congrats to them. Well done. Great game. One of the best games I've witnessed all year, I believe.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, do that. 5 runs, 14 hits. 2 runs, 1 hit. So Waconia was hitting the ball all over the park. They just couldn't get him across the plate. And Jordan was blessed with a run early on a error, hit batsman, walk, wild pitch, stole, and then finally got a hit, manufactured 1 run in the 8th, or in the 9th, I'm sorry. Bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs. What more Hollywood do you want for that for an ending, Struck him out.
You can't make it up. And typically, for the listeners that aren't really familiar, usually the town ball teams have maybe an ace and then a number 2 and a 3 starter. Usually they get through the season using 3 starters and a bunch of relief guys. In the state tournament, you play all these games. You use them all up right away. So for the weekend getting there, Jordan was lucky enough to use the draftees and their ace early in the weekend. And so it came down to when Beckman pitched, Nate Beckman, that's their number 2 guy. So they're sitting good, right? They're sitting good. He scattered a bunch of hits. That's fine. They gave up some hits. No one was scoring. The game was in check. There was that second inning home run by Jake.
2-run homer. And then
a 2-run homer. Yep. But the guy with the 2-run homer was Jake Hendricks, who came into the game 0 for 10 for the state tournament.
Yeah.
He was literally 0 for 10 and came in there to the state championship title game with a runner, Sam Schiffman, at first. Wallops a home run to take
a good game to show up.
Wow. So Waconia gets to use its starter, its number 1 ace, right? John Bezdechek. They used him the first weekend, the second weekend. Labor Day weekend came. Said, remember, Coach, I got my twin brother's bachelor party Labor Day weekend. I'm not going to be around. Coach Frederickson said, beginning of the season, that's fine. We'll work around it. We'll see what we do. Maybe it won't even come into play. Maybe it will. Thanks for letting me know. But go on, have fun. It's not going to be a big deal. He's gone, comes back Monday, fresh, ready. His arm is ready to go, and the luxury of using your ace on that game when you need him, and he goes the distance. And so
you weren't tempted Friday or Saturday to use him because he wasn't there,
So it worked out unbelievable, but he only gave up the let's see, how many hits? The 1 hit. So just the 1 hit. There was an error in that inning as well, but just
Didn't he have a no-hitter the week before?
No-hitter the week before.
Yeah.
No hit through 8 innings in this game. So he had the 17 consecutive no-hit innings at least in the tournament. And and then gave up the one hit, solid hit, nice
Yeah,
double.
it was a good clean hit.
Really nice. There was a game, a no-hitter, saving play by Ronnie Olson at second base there on a diving play to preserve the no-hitter. But they gave up the one hitter. The other runs came in on manufactured stuff, so it finished 5-2, but they had the bases loaded. One of the top hitters coming up, Jonathan Draheim, a young guy with power, bases loaded and a favorable count, and goes down getting struck out to end the game. Phenomenal matchup. Bezdicek was named pitcher of the tournament, and the MVP as well for Class C. But 45 strikeouts, Andy, that's fourth all time in the state tournament for a state.
Yeah, and that's fourth. Holy cow.
That's fourth because, last year Graham Lobsher struck out 60 guys, which was unheard of. And he was the pitcher of the year last year, 60 strikeouts, which has put him top. 45 is still top. Well, guess who also had 45 this year, Andy? In Class B was Graham Lobsher again. Tied with Bezdicek for 45. So that puts them both in the top five, both tied for fourth all time for strikeouts, which is amazing as well. And Lobsher for Class B won the pitching title again, back-to-back pitcher of the tournament for him in Class B, and then Bezdicek for Class C. But phenomenal game, fantastic finish. Waconia's never won it. They've been in the state tournament, I think, 11 times. Got to the finals once, got beat by Isanti in 13 innings back in 2011. Now they came back and beat Jordan at Jordan's Field. So the picture there is Waconia Fire Department. Now this is the post-game celebration.
Lions Field there, yep.
Lions Field. They put up they were kind enough for the post-game party to put up the exact replica scoreboard of the game for the post-game players party for the fans and players.
Except for the team names, they put the word state champs over there.
Yeah, on the left, if you can zoom in there, it says state champ. So they finally won it. Tremendous season. And we covered this. We had a preview for Class C, and then we had a preview for Labor Day weekend. And we said, watch out for Waconia. They're deep. Their hitting orders, all the guys can hit. The pitching is so deep with the draftees. But one of the comments was, it's going to be tough for any team to beat Bezdicek. It's going to be any team. It's going to be tough for any team to beat. Now you have to go up against the number one team in the state. Jordan Brewers was number one ranked team at the season. When the season ended, they were the number one ranked team in all of Class C. They're playing at home, and he hits them. That's the thing. That's the thing that's phenomenal, I think. Regardless of the score and everything else and the number of hits for the teams combined, you go up against the solid lineup of that Brewer team that was ranked number one most of the season for Class C, playing at home crowd, home cooking. You hit them on their home turf for 8 straight innings and then give up a double in the ninth and win by 3 runs. Amazing stuff.
Here's my point of view on it from an outsider's point of view. You're kind of both ends. You're from Jordan and you live in Waconia, so you're kind of eating from both ends.
Yep.
Me, I was the total outsider. Yeah, Waconia is the neighboring town. There are rivals for Watertown. I'm adult. I don't hold grudges. But I was there as an outsider watching. And I went to some of the games in Jordan beforehand, and this is just the feel I was getting. And I was trying not to be negative or favoritive. I was trying to be 100% outsider in there. A lot of the fans I felt the weekend before, and even the day before in Jordan, were like, so now when we have the victory parade after we win, so how are we going to celebrate when we win? Now, no one said that word for word, but that was the attitude. A lot of them kind of had this whole well, we're Jordan. It's in Jordan. Of course we're going to win, Yep. And I tell a couple people, it's out to Waconia and Delano the last couple of years. They were supposed to win it at their home place and couldn't. Oh, but Jordan, when you hosted last time 20 years ago, we won. That's all I kept hearing. And I kind of got a little flummy, verp in my mouth every time I heard it from people like that. And so when the 9th inning came, I thought, oh man, if Jordan comes back and wins this game, everybody's going to have that I told you so look on their face.
Yeah, I agree. And
I did not want to see that. Now, and also, here's what I want to ask you too, because you're kind of, again, half and half there. 2201 or 2202, depending who you ask or who you read it for the attendance there. let's just say 22 even. I feel like that was a good half of that crowd was Waconia. Either that or the few Waconia had were very loud.
Oh, yes, that could be.
It felt like it was a good half Waconia crowd there, which really blew me away.
We haven't seen them travel. We don't know how well they travel. Yeah. Of course, they're going to get their regular fans. Now, at the outside there, the first base line, where the Waconia fans was a big sea of blue. That's all you really saw was all the blue. The rest of the stadium was mainly Jordan or mixed or neutral or cheering for one team or the other without being from there. But we didn't see the bleachers. I don't know what it was like in the bleachers section in the grandstand. In the grandstand, and that holds a lot. If anyone knows the
we were sitting over third base side, so we're hearing Waconia shouting straight at us. So maybe that's why it felt like it was half crowd. That's what I'm saying.
It could have been half Waconia. We don't know the grandstand. If anyone knows about that or what it was like, please leave a comment below because it's hard to tell. There's a lot of people, 2,000 fans there. I do think Waconia brought a lot of people. I don't know if it was half. It could have been 40-60. It could have been 50-50. It could have been 30-70, but it just seemed louder. I don't know, but I do agree that I think the local fans in Jordan were expecting to win. They saw the bracket. All the games were home. All the games were favorable. Feature games, many of them were Friday night, 7:30 under the lights. They had the whole run, and they were the number one ranked team in the state. So, in their perspective, was who's going to beat us? Who's going to beat us, especially at home? Home cooking there is tough, but when you come from that River Valley League, it's good. I'm not taking anything away from the River Valley, but it's not the Crow. It's not the Crow. It's not the Stearns County League. It's not the DRS. It is,
third or fourth best league in the state.
It's up there, but it's not the competition you're facing. So when we had the prediction that Waconia could run the table or run that whole weekend because of the pitching alone, also because of the batters 1 through 9, and the competition you're facing, I figured into my bracket it was going to be Young America versus Waconia, what I had picked, and I think New Ulm Brewers beating Jordan in the earlier round anyway. I didn't think it. Sometimes the stress is too much playing at home. So I had seen brackets where most were picking Jordan to lose out in one of those rounds just because you're at home. The stars are too perfectly aligned that there's going to be a game you're going to flub it up and end up losing. That's usually what happens with the home teams. They don't do very well, but they ran the table.
Drafty pitcher is going to hit lightning in a bottle on you.
They beat Young America to get there, and that was a close matchup. But I don't think that they were prepared to take on, number one, the pitching of Bezdicek, the level, not just average, good, really good, excellent. This is elite. This is town ball elite. Jordan Brewers, good lineup. But I don't think those guys are ready to face what they had coming to them with Bezdicek. That's a whole nother level. So if they were to bring in the reliever and Bezdicek would have gone 6 or 7 innings, if Jordan would have got into that bullpen, it would have been a whole different story, I think, because they could have been able to tee off on pretty much anyone, even no matter how good they were, because Bezdicek is at the elite level, and he had his stuff that day. He was phenomenal. So
it was like a Game 7 of the World Series, though. There is no pitch count. There is no tomorrow. So
it had that. I think it kind of had that feeling to it. It kind of had Game 7 feeling to it. Came down to it. No team ran away. No one was way ahead. It was only 2-0 most of the game, and the lead that Waconia got later on with getting an extra run or two was insurance run. But I'll guarantee you this. No one on Waconia's team thought that was insurance enough.
Right.
They said they were thinking we need more runs because this team could come back in a couple swings of the bat and you're going to get beat. And that's almost what happened. That would have been a walk-off grand slam for the win. Talk about a magical finish there in Jordan if Draheim would have hit that grand slam out of the ballpark off Bezdicek.
Like I said before, like the Hollywood ending. I'm sorry if I forget the player's name, the guy for Waconia, the first baseman.
Frederick.
He gets the hit that gives him up, some base running, double steal stuff. He's the guy who takes off from first. He was kind of a key part to getting those 3 runs. bottom of the ninth, he's the one who had the ground ball go under him. It's
yes.
like, oh my God, here's the guy who gave you the lead. Pardon my language, might help piss it away.
And that's what happens in baseball. You can always be the GOAT in the same game as the hero. You never know how it's going to go. And no one felt probably worse than Jake Hendricks coming into the game. And then he's the one who hits the home run. Some are even suggesting at that post-game celebration in town that, maybe there was talk of should he even have been in the batting order for the championship. Bring in someone else versus a slumping guy. The coach stuck with him, blasts a 2-run homer. I mean, he pounded that ball, and he's hit many home runs during the season. A great move. But there are pitchers that had off outings and good outings and bad and good innings and bad innings, and players that cough the ball up and make an inning, an error. The game before, Waconia had 3 errors. In the semifinal game, and now they had 2 errors here too. So you're going to have you're going to sprinkle in some errors by the nature of the beast. You just got to overcome them and let it go. But you're right; it makes it interesting when you could be the GOAT of the game or the laughingstock, and also be the hero. And then that ball goes through the legs there. The crowd went absolutely nuts when AJ missed that dribbler.
And I'm like, oh no.
He was involved in 2 or 3 good scenarios the rest of the game. I mean, some huge scenarios he was part of. So that's what I like about baseball. You're never going to be 100% and do everything perfect. Think back to Kirby Puckett, some of the awful hitting he had in the 1991 World Series. He couldn't do anything, but he's remembered for the home run and the catch to win the game. But if you look back at his average, he was doing hardly nothing. He couldn't put the ball. He had a very poor batting average.
You see the highlights, you see the home run, the catch, but you don't see him get the MVP trophy.
And that's it. That's it. So now you see the same thing. You get Hendricks and all the the video collages that are going to come of the best of series of this 2024 state tournament. It's going to be Bezdicek, Jake Hendricks, AJ, Ronnie Olson's diving catch and his other play right in the direct sunlight with the glove up with guys on base. Makes that pop-up catch directly in the sun.
That was some of the errors of both teams were just lost it in the sun.
Yes, and so Olson came up with that then as well. But Kallenberg, great plays at third. Tanner Adam, great games all through the tournament defensively and offensively. Justin Schultz with the diving catch in the quarterfinal game. I think that was the quarterfinal game, yes, when they should have almost technically lost that game with 2 guys on base with 1 out. And Schultz, the left fielder, makes the diving grab. He was named in the all-tournament team as well. His Superman catch, they called it in the article, saved them to win that Bird Island game when the runners themselves on base were so sure no one was going to catch it. They were off and running. No one is even tagging. He pulls this catch out of where? Who knows where, and doubles off to really turn the game around. Sam Schiffman talked to him after the game yesterday, after the celebration, and mentioned to him personally how underrated that position was when he got all these stars on the team. Schiffman's the guy that caught all those innings. Yeah. The 2 games on one day, back-to-back, 9 innings the next. He had crucial hits in that semifinal win as well.
Backup catcher on that team was the easiest job in the playoffs.
Oh, Schiffman did it all. I mean, just being able to catch all those variety of pitchers, from the draft, not knowing them, not knowing their stuff, really did a tremendous job. But he's another mainstay there, always putting together quality at bats in the batter's box as well.
He's going to enjoy this next weekend off.
And the rookie, Owen Omrine, the center fielder, first year as a full-time player in center field for Waconia, batting 9th. I like it. I like him at the bottom of the order. Quick guy, fast. He made some tremendous plays as well and some leadoff plays. One of the plays that I forgot to mention, Andy, they brought in the veteran Ben Smothers.
Yes.
Ben Smothers came in on the Sunday of the semifinal game and laid down a sacrifice bunt to move the runners over. Textbook. So every single player on that team contributed. Robbie Smith. It was fun to watch.
Now, like you said, the rookie who they had him batting 9th, because that was old school lineups where your 9th hitter is basically your backup leadoff hitter. And that's his kind of mentality with the sacrifice bunt. Good speed. That's what you wanted.
Yeah, they did a lot of things. A lot of things right. You're not going to play perfect baseball in these games, and if you go to watch them next year, if you go back and rewatch some of the games this year, a lot of the town ball games end with 3, 4, or 5 errors. It's not uncommon to see. They are not perfectly played games. There's too many nerves. There's too many fans. The sun. All these things are coming into play. You're going to have errors, but this championship game, Jordan played great defense. Only 2 errors. Waconia only 2 errors. Kept things in check. And like you said, those were mainly balls in the sun, perhaps.
Just one thing I want to say about Jordan before I start getting hate mail saying about how the fans were cocky. Is that the good fans, don't get me wrong, some of the best hot dogs I've had in my life at Jordan for the game. Nice hot dogs, nice big hot dogs, get your money's worth. The food was excellent. The guys at concession stands, top notch. Beer vendors, top notch. Everybody was nice and friendly at all the stadiums I went to. I went to Belle Plaine and Jordan. The crews there, great job.
And speaking of that, the Green Isle crew too. I spend most of my games at that site, between the grounds crew and the volunteers and all the workers at the tent, the beer tents, the food tents. All very pleasant, hardworking crew, and those are all volunteers. They're not getting paid, so thank you once again for all that. All that. 3 weekends, and that's just the weekends. Andy, there's a lot of months of planning this.
Here, Bob Gringley had out the top 100 NBA ballparks. He had Jordan at 3, Shakopee at 9, Green Isle 10, and Belle Plaine 13.
Yeah.
Waconia's in there at 7. Delano at 1, of course. Now I'm looking through this list, and I'm looking. Where was it over here? Holy cow, I can't remember now. I can't find it. 84 for Watertown. So, Brad, buddy, step it up.
and Watertown's one of the best. I think one of the best playing surfaces. People really like that. But these ballpark rankings are mainly the aesthetics, the sight lines,
the seating, the parking,
when the sun sets. What kind of views do you get from a perspective? The parking, the concessions, and Watertown. With the new updates, the teams that are always in this list toward the top, Andy, are the stadiums that do something sizable each year. Not just you don't do nothing and then 20 years you upgrade the grandstand. You're doing something every year. Watertown with the bathrooms in the concession, the field, the dugouts. I mean, they've got everything going there with stuff going on. Kind of like Bonnin Field in St. Patrick with all the new things going on. St. Bonnie at Missile Park there as well. Every single year there's something substantial going on, and that's where you get into this group where you're in the top 20, top 10.
Yeah. Some local news, Dan, still kind of on the town ball side, maybe next year in town ball. But did you see who made a relief appearance the other day?
No.
Rich Hill.
Okay, I did see this.
Now, one stat I heard, I don't know if they're the same graduating class or not. He pitched at Michigan the same time Tom Brady was there as quarterback for the football team.
Oh,
there's our boy. Local boy does good.
And he's one of those guys that just imagine the innings he could eat up. He's not blowing anyone away.
Left-handed pitcher. There you go.
Left-handed guy. He's not hurt a lot.
Only player it says to be in at least one major league game in the last 20 years. At least one game a year for the last 20 years.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's a great meme right there.
If he can be pitching for Watertown at the end of the year next year.
Well, yeah, imagine these senior men's leagues are eyeing him up, thinking, can we get him on the 35 and over or the 45 and older leagues? And he's a pro pitcher at age is he 44?
Yeah, bring him in to face Koski next time in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're seeing more of that. Corey Koski, some of these former pros, playing amateur ball. It's a blast.
All right, some WNBA stuff. Hopefully, I don't give away your answer here. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
17% of WNBA fragrant fouls involve Caitlin Clark.
Interesting.
80% of those are by the Chicago Sky.
Oh, my. Okay, so the math, the statistical analysis on this, they count the flagrants on one victim being Caitlin and which team are the ones doing it. That makes sense. I'm actually, Andy, not surprised.
Nope. If you watch the highlights of the last game, I've shown some on our social media. Unreal. Dallas Wings announcer and Basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman said, quote, "What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational." She's just basically going, she's doing what we wanted to do when we started this league 20 plus years ago.
Yep.
Getting the media attention, this and that. And in fact, there's one other thing that I'm going blank. One gal was pulled from commentary because she can't stand Caitlin Clark so much. It's like, leave your personal stuff out when you're an announcer. Grow up.
Yeah, and I think that was with the two friends that said, no, we're done. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Your comments anti-Caitlin and my comments pro. She goes, it ended our relationship. Is that the one? Or ended
I believe so. Yeah, there's a couple of them like that. Yeah,
I can't deal with it. And she said, well, no. So it got into that whole thing, and you got to keep. I don't know. I won't even continue on it, Andy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Here is the standings. Now they have the East and West standings, but it's the top 8 combined that make the playoffs.
Okay.
The X means they're in already. They play a 40-game season, remember. So when you look at the numbers, they play 40 games. The Liberty and the Sun are in already. There's Caitlin at number 6 with Indiana, and Chicago Sky holding the number 8 spot. Tied with Atlanta, though, for record. So Atlanta is basically a tie for that game. West, Minnesota, Vegas, and Seattle are in. Phoenix is kind of okay. They're 485. But here's the bottom guys fighting for that spots.
Okay.
Indiana, Phoenix, Chicago, and Atlanta. So we're all kind of, Indiana, Phoenix are a game out from each other. Chicago's only a couple behind. Like I said, 40 games they play on the schedule. So in between 5 to 9 games left for everybody. Atlanta's got their work cut out for them, as they say, to catch up there, but you never know.
Yeah, it's a fun part of the season here, and it got pushed back because of the Olympics, right? Is this later than normal? Okay.
Yep. So that's why they squeezed a lot of games in early, a lot of games now. They probably wouldn't play this many in a row.
I see.
Race cars. Zoom. All right. Playoffs last year, but not this year. 3, 4. There's 7 guys that were in the playoffs last year, and they aren't this year. And then 7 new faces, of course. So it's not the same old boys every year in the 16 that race for NASCAR. So just every year is a good year to be the first year to watch.
Okay.
So there we go. And here is the round of 16. They do these 3 races. After these 3, you see who's up. Excuse me. So there are Atlanta on the 8th, Watkins Glen, which Watkins Glen is not, as everybody says, left turn. It's a road course. So it's only 90 laps, 220 miles. It's like driving, it's like the IndyCar races, if you will, how it's all kind of jumbled up roads.
Okay.
And then Bristol on the 21st, and they cut down. They cut down to 12. So if right now, here's the top 12.
Okay.
Let's find your favorite racer, number 7, Chase Elliott. He's going to win it this year. Calling my shot right now.
Wow.
So there it is. Chase, where are we at here? We're what? The 38 minute mark of the show there, I said Chase Elliott wins it.
Okay.
So there's that.
The internet does not forget.
No, it's very unforgiving. And here's the bottom 4. Now, all 16 of these are in, but these are the 4 right now that are below the cut line. These 4 guys have to make it up. Some guys have points already, as you see, how many points they're behind and this and that. So that's all based on the season, how many stages you win and bonus points, blah, 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 blah. Basically, win and you're in. So that's how we're set for NASCAR. It starts this week. Get excited. Some more sports notes. TV games, U.S. national TV games by team for hockey. This is combined TNT, ESPN, ABC, or ESPN Plus. Whatever. Here we go.
Got it.
Calgary Flames, 0. Calgary Flames have 0. It's just a little burned on that one.
That's, typically they'll put the schedule together
0.
And then they'll put the nationally televised games, I think, and some will have more and some will have less. But very rarely will these teams have 0.
15 for the Wild. That's one of the tops. Chicago 15, Colorado Avalanche 17, Pittsburgh 17, Rangers 15, Edmonton Oilers 17, Red Wings 15, the former North Stars 14. So Wild are getting some love this year for a team that they make playoffs, but people love the Wild. The Wild love people. So there you go. The Kraken with 10 national televised games.
Okay, that's good to see.
The Columbus Blue Jackets even get one. Utah, the new team which was Arizona. Now
yes.
So when your original 6 aren't playing and don't get a game, what is that? What is that?
It's very interesting. I find that interesting. And once again, leave comments if you know the answer to this. Yeah. I can see them being on the low end, but not.
I don't care how bad Calgary is. Everybody should get a game. I mean, and also Ottawa Senators, 0 games. What?
Montreal Canadiens, 0.
The Canadiens, where are they at? They're
bottom, second to bottom.
They're 0 games for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, maybe it has to do with those 3 Canadian teams, Toronto Canadian teams. Maybe it's got to do with TV contracts. I don't know. But Edmonton has 17, so we shall see. Now, I'm being a little biased here. I think the Bison got screwed on Thursday.
Okay.
The refs were a little happy. They ignored a false start on Colorado, a 3rd down situation. They ignored a targeting call on Colorado on the foul drive, and they rolled the clock on the Bison on the 1st down before the ball was even in the ground. The announcers were very pro Colorado. Okay. Holy buckets. Every time something happened, they had the camera on Deion's face. The Bison have a head coach too. Pretty good guy. Just it was kind of, and I was trying, and I knew it's Deion. I get it. Everybody gets all hard and excited for Deion and his kid. But the Bison lost by 5 on a play that, again, they got jammed on the clock on this stuff. Tackled at the 4 as time ran out. So there were the blink of an eye from beating them. So
now, as an outsider, Andy, I didn't watch the game, and I checked the score the next morning for this.
Yep.
And I was interested. I was genuinely interested to see how could the Bison do against a D1 team here in the Big 12. And I saw the score, and I was impressed. I said, Bison lost by 5 points. I don't care how it happened or how it didn't happen or what happened. I'm fine with it. That's a good game. Then I started seeing what happened at the end, thinking that, boy, the Bison could have actually won it or should have won it. But if you think of yourself for Colorado now, the fans, they're angry pretty much anyway, because if you play the FCS team and you don't beat them by 20 or 30 points, your fans are left scratching their heads thinking, why didn't we blow them out? If you lose to them, they're angry. Then if you win by only 5, you're angry. So
yeah,
it's one of those tough scenarios in sports. Are you happy for the win, or is it like, well, I guess we'll take it? That's what you're up against when you get these matchups. But boy, NDSU looks sharp there at the end with all the potential things happening with those bullet points. That would have been huge.
The Gophers, usually you got to make the field goal before you set the fireworks off, son. Just saying.
Yeah. Now this is a nationally televised game. You miss the field goal, which is fine. You miss field goals. The Gophers kicker is actually very good, right? He's a good kicker. He happened to have an off night. And this was to win
the game. Now, I don't know if it's some college intern that's in charge of this stuff. Well, it's a national televised game. The networks come and say, no, we are controlling your pyro.
Yeah,
either way, someone's fired.
I would like to see the comments below. Once again, how does that happen with the fireworks? Who's pushing the button and how does it happen? How? That's a very embarrassing thing. Now, once again, Gopher kicker, look for him maybe to not miss another field goal the rest of the season. Very good kicker.
Oswald wouldn't even screw that up.
Oswald would not. And now he gets blamed as the GOAT of the game, not in a good way, as the heel, as we call it. And that's probably not necessary, but I did see him miss the chip shot early in the game. But kickers do have off days. He will come back. No problem.
Everybody laughs at the kicker, but when he misses the crucial game kicker, then he's a piece of, ass.
It is. But that's interesting.
Here's some neat things I saw looking at my computer today. Of course, That's my home computer, not the one at work.
Wow.
I don't do this stuff at work. It's all at home. Instagram followers by major USA sports leagues. NBA has 88.8 million. UFC, 43.5. The WWE, 32. Followed by the NFL, baseball, hockey, PGA, and soccer. One person asked, how can WWE have more Instagram followers than football? I looked at the people on the WWE and their pictures on Instagram. I'd rather see some of those people without their shirt on than some NFL players without their shirt on. Just saying.
It's interesting because it's the name recognition in wrestling.
Because WWE isn't showing just in action photos. They're showing the girls at the beach. They're showing them working out, this and that. I don't know what the NFL guys do on Instagram. I could really care less. But I'd rather not see a guy in a nice suit or a guy working out or a gal working out in hardly any suit. UFC, I don't know. They got the same thing with their gals doing that. I don't know. NBA, I'm just going to count that as just people being dumb.
It's interesting because this is just Instagram, and so it may be different if you're looking at X or Twitter versus
now. And also Instagram for YouTube, NBA, when they say
who knows,
88.8 million for the NBA on Instagram. Are they counting guys like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal? I don't know. Are they counting just active players, people associated with the NBA? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. We don't even know where these numbers and how accurate it even is, but it proves a point, and it does make sense.
And they didn't ask me. Most followed teams on Fox Sports app.
Okay.
I'll give you the first 9. Number 10 scratches my head. In order from 1 down: Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, Philadelphia, Texas, Atlanta, and the Mets, Cubs, Red Sox, and the Tigers. I don't get that one. I mean, good team, don't get me wrong, but they must have a couple studs or something people are following for fantasy baseball reasons or something. I couldn't figure that one out to save my life.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher. Now, Texas, I think, is the kind of the other oddball one there, but they're the reigning World Series champions.
Yeah,
yes, they're going to be in the hunt.
Yep.
But the rest of them, the other 8, are all ones that I'm not surprised by. But boy, Detroit, odd.
That one threw me off. Okay. Here, huge breaking news. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro has deleted his tweet video where he mentions WrestleMania will be in Philadelphia in 2026, not London. Oops. Just because you signed the deal in the meeting, pals, when you go national with it, these companies like to hold that stuff off for their announcement. Just saying.
It's just the wrong people.
No one didn't tell him that in the meeting.
Wrong people doing the wrong things.
Well, okay, WWE wants to keep it separate or quiet. I get that. You're bringing in billions to the city, millions, if not billions to the city. Shut up. We want to announce it. No one told us more on that. Another internet kerfuffle.
That's another kerfuffle.
USC has officially blocked Tulane on Twitter. Says USC blocking Tulane's Twitter account over the 2023 Cotton Bowl loss is Charmin soft. So why would you? So again, grow up, USC. Zach Greinke had a career 336 slugging average or slugging percentage. The 2024 Chicago White Sox have a 338 slugging.
Oh my gosh! These are the stats, Andy, that I love. This random stuff that
the one stat I heard: the American League Central as a team, those 5 teams combined are below 500. Yet 4 of the 5 teams are above 500, and 3 of them are going to make the playoffs. That's how bad the White Sox are. They've dropped the entire division's team record below 500.
Yes. Now, Zach here with the slugging percentage is a great stat.
And someone's got to sign him next year. He's like just a few strikeouts away or wins away from certain marks. He needs to get in there. And University of Minnesota women's volleyball lost the first one to Stanford, but then last night beat number 1 Texas in the little mini tournament over the weekend. So congrats to the Lady Volleyball Gophers. Gopher volleyball ladies. I don't know how you professionally call that, but
Lady Gophers, I think.
Volleyball team, nice going, girls. Good win. And that's what I got, man. That's what my nickel bought me was all.
Yeah, it's the other thing that came up here over the weekend. We've talked on this before. I'll just touch on it now. But the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Yes,
they finished their very first season. No team nicknames. They just played pro hockey. They're being paid. They had the Stanley Cup equivalent, the Walter Cup. Minnesota won it. All this stuff. The drama unfolded about the general manager, coach, and the banging of the heads. They just announced now the other day the new signing of the general manager just was announced. So it'll be interesting to see how that's all going to play out. They needed to hire someone, so that's if they've got that position now filled. But with all the rumblings going on, might be a story to follow. The other thing is the Vikings kick off the season this coming Sunday. Now they go to New York to face the Giants, and I saw the recent power rankings were out. A lot of people are thinking the Vikings will win less than half of their games, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there is probably where they're going to end up. The nice thing about the first game against the Giants. Giants are, I think, the 29th team in the power rankings, and the Vikings are the 23rd or something. So they could pull off a win there to open the season. And like you said, it could
Giants by 4.
Giants by 4. I see. So it could be interesting. But the people who need their Vikings fix, it begins Sunday. And that is it. So baseball, amateurs done, right? The Fall Twin Cities Amateur Baseball League kicks off.
Baseball Class B, Meadsville. Congratulations.
Meadsville Mudhens.
Over Air Freight by the 10-run rule.
They did. And Air Freight won it last year, and so they lost this year. And I think that's maybe why the other team was not afraid to run up the score. I mean, Air Freight has some good teams. They've got that Graham Lobsher we mentioned before, the pitcher. He wasn't in that title game. And so they're just because of that, now you can run up the score and lick your chops. Hats off to Meadsville there. The game I was at in Green Isle on that previous Sunday,
yes,
they came back and won. They were down 5-0 midway through the game. Meadsville came back and won after wiping out a 5-0 deficit, and then came back and won. They're good at playing from behind. They can get the job done, and they're a complete team. Congrats to them. Now, for minor league baseball, Andy, I'll just touch on this. The season's wrapping up for the Minnesota Twins and all the other minor league Class A teams, low A, high A. They're in their final 6-game series of the regular seasons. Begins this week. And if you're not in the playoffs, the postseason, you'll be done. Double A has 2 weeks left of baseball. Triple A has 3 weeks left of baseball. And then the major leagues has 4. So lots of stuff there. The trivia question is WNBA Minnesota Lynx are in their 26th year. They just qualified for the postseason again this year. How many times have they qualified, Andy, for the postseason out of 26 years?
20. I'm going to say 20.
Close. It's a little lower. They did have some years they struggled at the beginning of their term, but the answer's 15. 15 years they've qualified out of 26. And so they've had 11 seasons that they failed to qualify. And I looked that up because I thought it was, like you said, more. I thought it was much more than that. But they have 15 winning seasons in the playoffs, 11 that they did not qualify. This is their 26th year. Hats off once again to the Lynx. They have a good, strong team this year. Postseason starts in a couple of weeks. Should be fun to watch.
One more note. If the scores hold up tonight, the Mets did win. Philadelphia's behind right now. If Philly does lose, the Mets will be 7 games out with 4 weeks to go.
Okay.
And they'll be at their half game out of that last wild card spot. It was brought to my attention today that years ago, I'm not going to give you the exact year because I forgot to write it down. The Phillies had a 6.5 game lead with 14 games to go and blew it.
So these next few weeks,
the Mets being out, the Cubs being 3.5 out of their last wild card spot. The Tigers in our division being 5 out. The 6 Mets with the Black Cat and the Cubs. Don't get me started. That's hilarious. Don't count anyone out. The Mets they'll be 7 games behind the Phillies, and they have 7 left against the Phillies. So that's the great thing about baseball. The expanded playoffs. You look at it. How many games? Well, they're 7 games back. They got 7 head-to-head with them. Are they going to take all 7? God, no. God, I know that. I bleed purple and orange, and I know they're not taking all 7 from Philadelphia. But you go 5-2, put a little bruise on their arm, and clip away those other games. Let them know you're there in the play. I don't think the Mets are going to win it. But you take 5 out of 7 from the Phillies in that run, you got them on notice. If you see us in the playoffs, don't forget about us.
Also, watch the Brewers. Tough team. Also, don't forget them. But this is going to be an interesting time of year. There's going to be, you can count on one team collapsing, I'm sure, and then a couple teams, a Cinderella team sneaking in. But these last 4 weeks are going to be quite interesting, I think.
Yeah, someone's going to fold like a cheap suit. Someone's going to come out of nowhere, and then the playoffs will come, and the guy you think is going to go to the semifinals of the World Series is going to get swept in the first round. The team you thought had no chance to be in there is going to be in that league championship game. So,
interesting
fun time
stuff.
of year.
It is interesting stuff. All right, have a good week, everyone. Once again, leave comments below if there's anything we missed or we misspoke or something, or some of the questions we had earlier.
If Dan misspoke,
yes, always. Andy has 2 mistakes a year, and I think he's got those accounted for already.
Yeah, I've used them up.
So he's used them up.
Yeah.
So the final home stretch here should be safe with him.
Yeah.
All right, have a good week, everyone.
See ya.